This is a Squiz podcast. We're your shortcut to being informed.
Squiz Kids!
It's your daily news fix. Fun, free, fresh.
Hello and welcome to Squiz Kids Today, your fresh take on what's happening in the world around you. I'm Bryce Corbett. It's Wednesday, September 7. In Squiz Kids Today, farm kids key to allergy fight. Titanic tourism takes off. Squiz-E tackles the trolls and the battle of the TV dragons. That's what's making news, kids style.
The lowdown.
Are you one of the thousands of Aussie kids who suffer from allergies? Then do we have news for you. Experiments are underway in Germany to develop a pill to fight allergies. And we might all have country kids to thank. A team of scientists from all over the world have been working on the development of something they're calling a farm dust treatment to treat allergies like the ones that cause runny noses, based on evidence that kids raised on farms are less likely to develop certain allergies when they become adults. Scientists want to test whether being exposed to barnyard dust and drinking milk that has only been partially processed introduces into young bodies microorganisms, which are teeny tiny living things which help boost the body's defences against allergies. The farm dust theory is also being applied to kids who suffer from food allergies. There'll be lots of talk of allergies in Scotland towards the ends of this week as some of the smartest researchers in the world of allergies come together to discuss whether part of the reason there are so many more allergies in kids today is because of how clean our lives have become, meaning kids aren't exposed to the same number of germs or microorganisms as they used to be, and so their bodies have never had the chance to build up a resistance to them. The scientists attending the big meeting in Scotland are confident we'll one day live in an allergy-free world. Wouldn't that be nice?
Spin the globe.
Each day we give the world globe a spin and find a news story from wherever it stops. And today we've landed deep in the freezing cold waters of the North Atlantic Ocean, where the world's most famous shipwreck is set to become the world's most expensive tourist attraction. I'm talking about the Titanic, the mega cruise ship that famously sank after hitting an iceberg on its first ever voyage back in 1912. You may have seen the news last week that new footage has emerged from the bottom of the ocean where the wreck of the Titanic lies, after a company took tourists down in a specially made underwater vehicle. It's now been revealed that each person who undertook the 8-hour round trip to a depth of almost 4 kilometres beneath the surface paid a whopping $365,000 to do so. It's called deep sea tourism, and with another similar expedition planned for next year, it could be a big money spinner for the tour company involved. I'm sure it's an amazing experience, but I reckon I'm good just watching the video up here on the surface.
Pop Culture Corner.
And the Battle of the Dragons has officially begun on a TV near you, with the release in the last 10 days of the Game of Thrones prequel, House of the Dragon, and the newest release in the Lord of the Rings franchise, Rings of Power. Now, if you're sitting there thinking, what in the world of goblins, dwarves, and elves is this man talking about? Let me briefly explain. House of the Dragon is a new TV series that follows the wildly successful Game of Thrones TV series, which involved fictional characters fighting over fictional lands with a couple of dragons thrown in for good measure. Rings of Power is the prequel TV series to the Lord of the Rings movie series, which are themselves an adaptation of author J.R.R. Tolkien's classic books of the same name. And yes, they also involve a dragon. Hence the fact that both TV series have been released at the same time by competing streaming services has fed the narrative of two dragons going to war. May the best dragon win. It's a Wednesday, and you know what that means. Time for Squiz-E the Newshound to pop his head into Squiz Kids HQ and let us know what fishiness he's sniffed out this week on the internet. And will you look at that? He's been sniffing around the new Rings of Power TV show that we just talked about, and he's discovered that many of the reviews that are posted online about the show are fake. Okay, first up, what's a review? It's a judgment that an expert or ordinary person writes about a product. It could be about a movie, a TV show, a theatre production, or even a restaurant, a hotel, or a toy. Reviews can be really powerful in that they influence whether or not the rest of us invest our time and money in that product. So, for a big TV show like Rings of Power that cost many millions of dollars to make, they want as many people as possible to watch it. And that will only happen if online reviews for it are good. But the problem is, many reviews are written by trolls or bots. Trolls are people who go online intentionally to cause mischief or harm. Bots are automatically generated comments or reviews. Neither are genuine. Both can cause a lot of harm. The studio making Rings of Power, therefore, have decided to filter the reviews that appear online in an attempt to weed out the bots and give their show a fighting chance. The lesson for you, budding newshounds, is, as ever, to always stop, think, and check whenever you come across something on the internet. Things are not always as they seem. On the subject of Squiz-E, if you think kids being critical consumers of media is a good thing, if you think media literacy in an information age is all important, then you're going to want to get involved in Newshounds, our upcoming media literacy program for primary school kids. It's an 8-part podcast series with an accompanying classroom booklet teaching kids how to recognise misinformation and fake news. Thanks to our partners at the Google News Initiative, the Newshounds by Squiz Kids Media Literacy Program will be available free to all classrooms in Australia and New Zealand, with a launch date set for the start of Term 4. We'll be talking about it a whole lot more in the weeks to come, but to find out more and to register your interest now, go to squizkids.com.au/newshounds. I've stuck a link to it in today's episode notes.
Time for the quiz.
This is the part of the podcast where you get to test how well you've been listening. Question number 1. What's the name of the famous ship that hit an iceberg and sank in freezing waters of the Atlantic Ocean back in 1912? Yeah, that's right, it's the Titanic. Question number 2. Name one of the 2 TV shows with dragons going head-to-head this week. Yep, I'll take Rings of Power or House of the Dragon. Well done if you got both. Question number 3. Exposure to what sort of dust is being tested to see if it might reduce the number of kids suffering from allergies? Yeah, that's right, it's farm dust.
Shout outs.
It's September 7. All eyes will be on New York City again this morning as Australians Nick Kyrgios and Isla Tomljanovic take to the US Open tennis courts in their do-or-die quarter-final matches. Good luck to them both. It's also a special day for these Squiz Kids celebrating a birthday today. Daisy from Grovedale, Isla from Cannon Hill, twins Evie and Kalea from Bamborough, Jack G from Katara, Abby from Ashmont, Lucas from Kalara, Tennyson from Adelaide, Alexis from Elivana, Eve from Wagga Wagga, Elsie and Courtney from Bathurst, James from Hurstville, and Samuel and Clementine from Sydney. And a belated birthday shout-out goes to Xanthi from Katara. And classroom shout-outs today go to Class 4TM at Proserpine State School, Class 3B and Miss Blunden at the Scott School in Albury, Year 4 and Miss Hanson at Blackwell Public School, Class 6B and Mrs B at Walkervale State School, and Class 5-6E and Mrs Earl at Dobroyd Point Public School. Don't forget, if you've got a birthday coming up and you want a shout out, or if you're after a classroom shout out, drop us a line at squizkids@thesquiz.com.au. Well, that's all we have time for. Thanks for listening to Squiz Kids today. We'll be back again tomorrow. In the meantime, get out there and have a most excellent day. Over and out.